Welcome in, guys. Adam here, and today we are talking all about electronic kits, specifically Pearl's flagship line, the Emerge. Now, truth be told, I have never owned an electronic drum set before. I've talked about them on my podcast plenty. I've sold them to many different people when I worked at Sam Ash, long before I was a YouTuber, and I've even been to the Roland headquarters for the launch of the TD-17. But in all that time, I never actually got one in my studio. I was really close to pulling the trigger a few times, but a new microphone or a new camera lens ending up distracted me, and it just never happened. But now she's here and she is beautiful. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through some of the details of this e-kit, give you my thoughts and impressions on the Pearl Emerge, and show you some of the awesome things that this drum set can do, because this is a really powerful setup, as I've learned over the last few weeks. Now, this might not be the nerdiest or the most technical review of the Emerge that you can find on YouTube, but my goal is just to offer you some insight and give you a nice overview of what this awesome kit can do. So the entire kit arrived in 4 boxes, and I know this is dumb, but I have to mention Pearl's packaging, which is just ridiculously good. Insanely thick cardboard, tons of custom foam fittings, and it's just packaged professionally. Because when expensive things hit the mail, I know we all get a little bit nervous, but I was really happy to see this thing arrive in mint condition right off the UPS truck. So we have one box for the drums, one box for the cymbals, another box for the hardware, which is hilariously heavy, and the final box that contains the kick drum, which I forgot to film. By the way, there is nothing wrong with this particular drum head. That would be Pitbull Slobber. Thank you, Rhino. Now, because I'm a 32-year-old American man, I threw the instructions away immediately and just started improvising the assembly. Just kidding. I didn't really throw the instructions away, but I definitely didn't need them. Lucky for me, this kit was super intuitive to set up, and if you have any background in setting up a drum set, you can figure out like 90% of this just by looking at the pictures. It was really that easy. Now, it's easier to tell you what's not included with this kit than to tell you what it actually comes with. Essentially, the only things that you need to start playing right out of the boxes are a throne, a pedal, and a hi-hat stand. Every other piece of hardware that you might need is included, and I was most impressed with this rack. Now, Pearl is known for its really elaborate, high-quality rack systems, but I've never owned one. This is the first one I've ever really had my hands on, but now I kind of understand why Pearl is known for this. This rack is just industrial strength, and it did make setting things up a lot easier. It also makes it easier to make changes when I want to just slightly move a tom or change a cymbal. Everything is just really accessible, so I am a fan of the rack system. I don't know if I'm ready for one in the full kit yet, but all that to say, this thing is really cool. So this particular kit is a 5-piece setup, and for most of this video, I have it configured as a 1 up and 2 down, and then of course we have our hi-hats, ride cymbal, and a crash. Now, in most of the product photos, you're going to see this set up like a standard 5-piece, so 2 rack toms and then 1 floor tom, kind of have it set up at this moment in time. But with this rack system, it's just really easy to make these adjustments, so I've been enjoying changing the setup quite a bit as I've gotten used to this kit. Now, before we get too nerdy, I want to give you my first impressions of this kit. And by first impressions, I just mean the things that I noticed right away as somebody who plays drums professionally, but doesn't claim to be an expert about electronic kits. E-kits are really complex. This world gets super deep, and there's plenty of things that we could talk about with this kit in a video like this. But here are the things that just initially caught my attention right out of the box. First is just feel. These heads feel more like real drum heads than any electronic kit that I've ever played, and I've played literally almost all of them. Now, I do think that most manufacturers who are making kits at this price point, they're not making heads that feel that bad. Everything is going to be playable and feel decent, but the Emerge has this realism to it that's my personal favorite of all of the e-kits that I've played. And with the ability to tune these drums or actually change the tension of the head, just like on an acoustic kit, I did my best to match all of my head tensions to what I'm used to over my Masterworks kit, and it made things that much more comfortable. Now, the next thing that stuck out for me was the simplicity of the module. I know in 2022, we're all relatively comfortable with general electronics, so there was a part of me that was expecting a module like this to just be pretty intuitive. I had no trouble running through all of the kit sounds, toying around with the built-in metronome, and even editing some of the kit sounds right away. Within just a few minutes, I had taken a pre-built drum sound, like a pre-built kit, and I had tuned up the snare and adjusted the reverb on the toms a little bit, mixed the overall volume. So hopping into this thing and really digging through the menus is not that hard to do. And I found that really impressive because I have been on modules before where it's just not intuitive. Within a few minutes, I have to crack open a manual and go like, well, how do I find the compression on a tom, right? Like I want to be able to do that stuff without having to like go to page 77 of the manual just to figure that out. So I was really impressed with how intuitive this module was just right out of the box. And the third thing that impressed me right away was this ambient slider. There's this fader on the top right of the module, and it essentially adds reverb and some higher frequency glossiness to any of the acoustic kits that you have queued up. What's actually happening when you move this slider up and down is you're moving the room mic away from the kit. Now, I found that with most kits, I just like it a little below the middle, but for certain sounds, it's really fun to crank this thing all the way up and just mess with the presence of the overall drum sound, because going from, closet to cathedral in like 2 seconds, it can give you some really fun ideas as you're actually playing. Keep in mind, you're not doing this in post. You're not like mixing the reverb after the fact. You're actually adjusting it as you're playing the kit. So I found it inspired a lot of creativity just by, moving a fader. Now, speaking of kit sounds, let's talk about some of the sounds that come with this unit. You probably already know that Pearl partnered with Korg to create a lot of the sounds here. So there's plenty of samples that are from Korg inside of the module included with the eMerge. Now, for the acoustic end of the library, you'll find tons of classic kits, which were all recorded in Nashville. And I love the way that they've organized all of these kit sounds. If you press modern, you're given all of the sharper, sleeker kit sounds. Press vintage, and you've got your jazz and bop kits and even some cool Motown and kind of funk style drum sets. Under studio, you'll find some of the most familiar or classic drum tones. And as we get into the weirder categories like electronic and hybrid, things start to get a little weird. Now, I'm not going to take you through every single kit sound in this video, but I will play you a clip from each one of these categories. These were just some of my favorite sounds that I found within each category respectively. Check it out. Now, some other notable features on the kit that you need to know. The MDL1 module has some sneaky little things built in it. One of the coolest is this internal recording feature. There are 16 gigs of memory built right into the module, which gives you 12 hours of recording time without the need for a computer. This would allow you to record multiple practice sessions, band rehearsals, or demo tracks for writing in the studio. I can think of a million uses for that particular feature, so it's really cool. Now, I also wanted to mention the snare drum, which is uniquely different in appearance from the toms and the kick. So the snare is using wave trigger technology, which is adapted from Korg's wave drum. This drum is crazy sensitive all the way to the edge of the drum, and I have no complaints about the sensitivity or the response time on this drum. It just feels killer, and it makes it incredibly easy to forget that you're not playing a air quotes, real drum set. And to be perfectly honest, a video like this could be twice as long as it is with the number of features that there are to cover on this kit or any other high-end electronic kit. But rather than slow you down with a bunch of tech specs, which is not really my thing in this world, I instead thought it would be best to give you guys like a bird's eye view of what this drum set can do and just let the kit speak for itself. This is a seriously powerful piece of gear, and it's one that I'm really grateful to have in my studio. Now, there is one other cool thing that I gotta tell you. Pearl has asked me to make a fully custom kit on this module, so I can share it with you. So to make this kit, I started out with the Mod Soul kit profile, and I began editing each and every sound within that drum set. I've adjusted the mic placement on the toms, I've changed out the cymbals, all of the compression levels, and even the drum sizes. After about a week of mixing and adjusting this kit, here's exactly what I came up with. So if you dig that kit sound and you want to download it onto your own module at home, you can hit the link in the description and get this exact kit queued up on your kit. How cool is that? So moving forward, I have two things that I want to use this kit for. First, I've just finished filming a brand new series of 10 lessons for OrlandoDrummer.com. I'm guessing about half of them are already out at the time of this video's release. And those lessons cover several different quick grooves and fills. And it's nice because this kit makes recording so effortless, and it allows me to change the kit sound to match what it is that I'm teaching. So you'll notice in those 10 lessons that are coming out on OrlandoDrummer.com, many of them have different kit sounds because it fits the particular groove or the fill that I'm teaching much better. So I thought that was really cool. The next thing that I'm going to use this kit for is movie scoring. The guy who has created all of our practice loops on OrlandoDrummer.com is named Joe Hodgen. Many of you guys have met and spoken with Joe before. And Joe is a full-time musician and film composer. Him and I have worked on tons of different projects together over the years, and I'll oftentimes record drum parts for him whenever he's scoring a different film. And it's normally not like a normal recording session. We have some really abstract stuff that we have to do, depending on what kind of movie he's working on. So some of the world sounds and the electronic sounds that come with this kit are going to be perfect for the more abstract and weirder tracks that he needs, and I'm really excited to see what we can create with this new instrument in the studio. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and of course, major shout out to Pearl for sending me this incredible instrument. I am one grateful drummer to have this thing just available for me to play anytime I want. It's been a blast to have it in the studio, and I hope you guys will check it out. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Later.